Taverns are iconic, and starting your campaign or your one-shot in a tavern is probably one of the most highly recommended things that you can do as a D&D beginner. However, once you run one campaign, then you run another campaign, and then the next campaign. And starting, honestly, in a tavern multiple times is probably one of the most repetitive, boring things that could happen. And you can always mix things up, but at a certain point, it becomes predictable because your players know what to expect in a tavern because it is the only setting that you've ever ran. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 4 alternative starts to your D&D campaign that I have used in the past and that I am going to use in the future. Before we get started, I want to let you know that you should probably pitch some of these settings to your players so they have an idea of what to expect. And as always, make sure that it's actually fun for them because some settings are more fun to others and some people don't want to play a gritty campaign like I personally like to run. The first location is a guild, and this can be a mercenaries guild, this can be a merchants guild, this can be a thieves guild. The reason why I like this is that it sets up a few things. Number one, it sets up a location for your players. It sets up context. Now, with running a guild, there's always a sponsor or a commander or some sort of person that the players have to report to. Now, the thing about having that is that they can automatically trust said sponsor. No reason for them to actually turn against them. And frankly, it makes everything straightforward. Now, one thing that I really like about this is that if you want to, you can actually start your players in a mission because it gives you directly what the players want, an adventure. And running the game in an adventure makes everything smoothly because your players already know each other. Nothing expository or no introductory statements need to be made. And overall, I think that's a really good thing, especially for new players, because you might have some awkward players, you might have some characters that don't really work well together. Now they are forced to work together because they have to complete this task. If you do this, I highly recommend pitching this because sometimes players will think that this is very railroady at first. However, at a certain point in time, you have to decide whether or not you want to continue doing the guild stuff or you want to go into the open world stuff. It's really up to you on how you want to run your campaign. The second setting that I have ran in the past is prison. Your players are prisoners and they have to join each other through necessity. And depending on what the players want to do, they have to stage some sort of prison break. And I'm a big fan of Prison Break. If you've ever seen the TV show with the two brothers in The Flash, if that's still a thing. This doesn't need to be a maximum penitentiary. This could just be a small prison outside of town that nobody comes across. The motivation is clear. And you really want to have that because you really need to have a reason for the players to come together as a group. The third setting that I recommend is a festival, and I have ran festivals in the past. I actually ran a festival recently on my weekly D&D live stream, which I stream every single Monday. A festival is fun because there's a lot of mini games, and if you have a lot of gamey people who play video games, you can set up a town and there's some sort of annual or seasonal festival, and your party can meet up in the middle of a game. They can be contestants. They can also be people who are just around whenever there's an incident that takes place. And if you want something a little bit dramatic, you can even make it a murder mystery. The guards ask the players to find the murderer in the middle of a festival, or maybe help them deal with a monster that's rampaging the streets. I think it's highly immersive. I think it's really fun to play. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it might be too long, and especially sometimes people want to get to the point of the adventure, but having a lot of expository in this case is a little bit more on the creative side, so I leave that up to you. The last place that I have ran is a ship. A ship is a place that I ran similar to a tavern, but with a little bit of more effects, and I have really fond memories of how I launched my second campaign on a ship. Long story short, my players reenacted the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where the cleric who worshipped the god of drinking, Matt, one of my friends, he woke up in a barrel and was picked up by the said ship. And it was very memorable. It was so much fun. There were sea shanties, there were pirate fights. It was so memorable until we got to the end. And basically the problem I have with running a ship is that it's not really a location-based introduction. You can do this on any sort of ship, on anywhere in the world. Once they reach their destination, it's kind of a one and done. So I don't personally like that unless you're running like a pirate campaign. It is what it is, and I think the memories to me is more important than, you know, the location itself. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know by hitting that like button and commenting down below. How do you start your campaigns? I'd love to hear your thoughts, but until the next time, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I post new videos every single week, and I will see you next time. Peace.